Okay, folks, and just loading up the Unreal Engine a little bit here, so we'll sit in the little dashboard of things. Um, Letting this load up. So yesterday, one of the YouTube lawyer guys that does corporate stuff posted a video about some of the new changes that the Democrats and Republicans decide they want to do to COPA. So yeah, this is kind of one of those deals where, yeah. So anyway, I'm just waiting for the engine to load up here, and then it'll take a minute. Here we go. Yeah, and this is what the inside of the shooter game looks like, right? This is the base code, right? Just gonna show you from scratch how I added that other little level thing, right? Usually what you do is, I've already added it in here, I think. Yeah. So you go File, Open Level, right? And where's my new little map thingy? Where did I put you? Or maybe I didn't. What's going on here? Where are you? Where are you? Content. Animations, blueprints, developers, environments, maps. Where did it go? That's interesting. What else is missing in here? Oh, they probably did some stupid arse update in here too. All these stupid corporations updating things, and they keep breaking everything on you, and it's totally not even needed. Usually you'd find something in here, right? I've had a directory in here called New Maps. I don't know. Just a second here. Let's go check this out. La 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 la. Maybe I loaded the wrong one. Ha ha ha. That would be funny. No. It was in the vehicle one that I added the textures. That's right. Okay. Okay. So this is the base one. So what you do is you go over here to landscape. Come on. Come on, you. You go import from file. You go over here. And I got this one over here made up. You import that. Alright, down to here. Set the scale down because you don't want it to be too large that the engine won't handle it. Okay. And you import. Then I'm going to do something nifty here in a minute. I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to do this. Show in folder. Flunk. Content. Where did I put it? I think it was called textures, right? Assets, maybe. Let me think. Where did I find you? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? There's the map. You go in here to assets, and then it was the textures. There was a special one for, where are you? Terrain, there it is. Okay, so then I copy this and go back to the shooter project. Alright, and we go in here. I think I got it in there. Yes, I do. Okay, so it's already in there. So I was thinking ahead. So now, why didn't that load? Oh, I just created and it's still loading. Probably lag me out for a bit here while it decides to do this too. It's one of the... Well, it didn't let me do it. Maps. Come on in here. Yep. Yeah, it's slowly trying to load it in. Why are you doing it this way? Why did that do that with this all around it? This is weird. Okay, you know what? Open level. Why did it do that? Shouldn't do that. Manage. Come on. Oh my god. It's being stupid today. Where'd the import go? Just whatever then, okay? I don't know what it's doing. Okay, let's try this all again. Open project. See, it's not even showing up. There's something wrong with it because it's not showing up on the list either. Unreal Engine! See, I can open this one up. And I'll show you what I did. Don't save. I'll just go back into that afterwards. I don't know why it's doing that either. It wasn't doing that before the other day either. So I don't know. And all I did was move those assets that you see right here, okay, into a directory. And this, I'm gonna say this: the development, being able to move assets around like this manually, it seems to corrupt the entire project. Like as you can see, it just suddenly doesn't want me. As soon as I did that, it's not showing up in the list anymore. I mean, it's one of those things where they got to fix this kind of crap, and this is why 424 is not production ready, and yet here they are trying to tout it as such. It's BS. And this is why I say, guys, I mean, I could get you a little shooter game and be chunking out levels and have a couple people help me putting materials and little buildings around for you to see and run around in. And, you know, we don't need Hollywood for all this stuff. And we make lots of violent, destructive, blowing up crap so that it's rated M, okay? And then you don't have any COPPA violation BS to worry about. You got to be 16 years of age or older. Actually, for rated M, you got to be 18 or older. Let's just leave teenagers right out of it, eh? Let's just make sure that teenagers have absolutely nowhere to go, have no fun, and let's see where this leads. All right? Like it's one of those things where it's just they've gone full retard with all this shit. Okay. There we go. Yeah, take a minute here. Yeah, hey guys. You know. Yeah. Yeah, so I figured I'd come in and just do a live because this, people get panicky about COPPA and stuff. What they're doing is they just want to make it so that screw around with more, keep YouTube on its toes so that they find them 170 million. They probably cost them another 170 million in ad revenue because how many people went and canceled their accounts? How many people are, you know, just have stopped doing things? Like I'm not going to stop. I'm not American. The worst that happens to me is like they cancel my channel, right? Like I do animated stuff. I do 3D stuff, but it's in a developer kind of way, right? So that's adult stuff, right? And then you got me doing the games I play as an adult, right? Well, if a child or someone now under from 16 or under, you know, uh, like how many 16 and under year olds play Fortnite? You know, I was gonna go get that game and play with a friend of mine who's an adult, right? Just because it's a shooter game, I know lots of people play, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying. These are people that are anti-technology. Okay, they're all anti-technology and they're all about control. That's what this is. It's all about control. Oh yeah, I know. Like, yeah, they are sniper, but there could be a time when it's used. See, the problem I have with most of these types of laws is they do them vague enough that a future bad actor could use those laws as punishment against people, right? If they just choose to, right? Like, it's like I was saying the other day. I was sitting in a channel with some people that were talking about how bad cults were, and this one guy, he brought up how the Trump has a cult of personality, and it came up. He goes, well, Trump didn't really have that power to, and they're like supporters of him, right? Trump didn't really have that power to do the missile strike, and he had to get all kinds of it. And I says, no, he woke up. He's got a video out there how he just woke up one day and then went and ordered the missile strike, you know. And this is where then they attack you. So people on that side, if they get control of something, could then attack you, right? And I've had it happen where I got a copyright claim from EA for embedded sound in a Mass Effect game, or no, it was Battle for Middle Earth, okay, where the guy that was doing the mod, who had a channel at 20,000 subscribers, was not getting bothered by them, okay? And it's only because I posted something on another guy's channel, right, in support of something that was a little bit negative or critical of EA. So be mindful of that when you're out there too, and you're posting on some of these guys' channels where they're critiquing these people, because these companies are making lists of you. It's almost like a little mini war. They're not realizing we're the fans, we're the buyers of their stuff. And the reason I'm into this stuff, right? This stuff here, right? Is because of them and their actions, okay? I got all this stuff for free. Look at all this stuff I can place into this here, you know? And I don't have to pay for this, right? What do I need EA for then? So the whole point of what they do laws like this is they don't want kids to see this, right? They don't want younger adults to see this, because I was 12 years old when I got a Commodore VIC-20 and there were no games for it. I had to make my own games. Okay? So if the ecosystem is take this game or else you get nothing, what are you going to do? Right? And because you don't see any alternatives, you're going to take the game. And you're going to be a little drone and you just go and you do your thing, and that's the way it works. Right? That's the problem I have with these types of laws. And it just gets to a point where, hey, I'm growing. They aren't stopping me. And you want to know why? It's because I don't need them. I know how to set up a web server. I know how to run a web server. I know how to be an actual website operator. Okay? I know how to embed videos, edit videos. I know how to do compositing. I know how to do it all. Okay? And software design. Okay? So I'm one of those guys that says, really, you know, I look at this kind of stuff and I go, this is just more proof that the people making the laws are just idiots. Okay, we could literally elect monkeys to office and have them sit there in parliaments or Congress or the Senate and just eat bananas for 4 or 5 years, and the world would actually probably get better. you know, uh, and the solution, it, I looked it up. They won't allow me to enter content ID for video gaming. Okay, they will for the stuff like this. It's a bit educational and stuff like that, because I don't own the exclusive rights to the video game, right? So I got thinking, okay, so what needs to happen here? I mean, the ESRB has a rating for teen, which is basically 13 to 17. Yet COPPA will cut you right in the middle of it. Like, what the fuck? Pardon my language and all, people, but what the hell? Um, you know, so they need to make a new rating system here, or get out of the goddamn rating system game. That's all there is to it. There should be a what there should be is rated COPA. You know what I mean? That's 16 and under. There you go. That's what they should do. The ESRB should go rating COPA. That way, whenever they change it, the lazy pricks don't need to do nothing. They can just woo, suck us dry for more money. Yeah, eh? Oh, and I tried out the PC version of that game that everybody on mobile on YouTube was advertising, called Raid. I installed the game. I started up. It crashed. I started back up. Oh, maintenance mode. What a piece of garbage that shit is. And then I had another guy that was talking about it. Yeah, like, see, what I wanted to do, Sniper, was with all the Epic stuff that was free, I wanted to bring that into a project, bring a few guys like yourself and I'm not a expert at everything, right? But I've learned a lot. So the idea was to bring in a lot of this freebie stuff, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I have not paid for any of this stuff, okay? And you can see what I'm talking about, okay? And I have tutorials here on YouTube that allow me to do a ton of things. What the hell's going on here? Oh, it's loading. Yeah, I'm using a little extra bandwidth because I increased the frame rate to 48 rather than 30. That's the standard. But see, all these little packs have a use in a video game or a cinematic. And the idea was to do something in a cinematic way with all these things. Like when I scroll down here, like there's all the Megascan stuff. Okay? There's like 10 terabytes worth of assets right there. It's like worth millions. Okay, like, and in total, there's about $17 million worth of shit in here. And then you get down to these things here, the Paragon assets. These could be the characters in a story. We could give them all new names, right? Get some voice actors and do something with this. But if I do something like this, and it's not violent enough that it's rated M, then it could be for kids, and then we could be all in trouble, and then there's no sense in us doing this, because the idea was that every person that helped out would have one of the episodes on their channel. So it builds the hype, gets you exposure, probably some more subscriptions and whatnot, and everybody benefits, right? And it shows off what Epic gave out, what you can do with it, and have some fun at it, right? And that you don't need AAA movies, you don't need AAA games, you don't need this, okay? We have that power ourselves. And what COPPA does is it tries to take this away from us constantly. It puts up what we call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, it's an old school term where what your enemies do is they try to put that fear into you so you don't do something. They put the uncertainty into something so that you don't know whether you can or you can't do something. And that's where all the doubt is, right? Okay? I mean, when I'm hearing lawyers say that the law is too vague, okay, in Canadian law, a law that is too vague would be struck down. Okay? It would be tossed out of court. Okay? We have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms up here, and one of them is that the laws need to be specific. Okay? Because if they're not, it can turn into something that we have up here called cruel and unusual punishment. Okay? And, anyway. So let's just run this sucker and see if we can get it running. Yeah, and the lighting needs to be rebuilt. And the issue is that when you have a character, you have a little box around them called a bounding box. And inside that box is your lighting. The problem is, and I'll show you why, this is an issue where I've made this really big. See, there's the top of the bounding box. Okay? See how big this is? There's a little bridge I made over there. I was having some fun running around on that. And I put that on BitChute, and here's what I will say. Okay? I put a video on YouTube for 24 hours. I might get 25 views. Okay? I put the same video on BitChute, and I get that traffic in minutes. Okay? In fact, by the time that 24 hours rolls around, I will have either double to triple the traffic. Okay? It's because over there on BitChute, they're getting a lot of political commentary. They're getting a lot of, not so much interesting stuff to look at, really, honestly. And so when you go and you put something neat like this up there, people just suck it right in. Okay? Like, I'm not kidding you. And YouTube has now prevented BitChute from doing the auto thing where they will go get a copy of every video I do on YouTube. I have, it was a neat feature to do a backup, right? So anyway, I made another bridge over here. I got to fix this up eventually. But this is what I'm saying, right? I had to scale this up and messing around. This is just like a 5-minute job, right? I was just driving around and doing things. And I was going to bring this into the shooter game. So I took the textures for this and I brought it in, and suddenly that's somehow corrupted that shooter game. So I'll have to find out why it does that and how I can import assets properly and and all that jazz. Just means a delay in doing things and something I'm going to learn. That's just how that works. Oh wow, it's not even that UFO. I get the opportunity to see things from an outsider's perspective because I'm in Canada. We're right next door to you, okay? And it's both the left and the right that are the problem in the USA, and it's that dual election system you have. And I don't know how you're going to fix it because it's just going to keep getting worse. The population will keep increasing, and then you're going to have more and more people stuck together. Oh, this here? Oh yeah. I mean, I could show you guys some videos. What I should do is go to my about page and get into the Discord. And I showed a guy who was thinking of getting into Unity about doing some rigging, and taking those Paragon characters like these guys, and you see the little white mannequin dude, right? Hold on here. We'll just start something new, and like when you start a project, you get a little. Let me see here. Let's just do a new thing. So new project. So you go new project, you go into games, right? You go next, right? And then you get this third person, right? And we'll do it with the starter content. Nah, we don't do it without. So this will load up, and there'll be a little white guy called a mannequin. And this mannequin, okay, I might be a little laggy here a bit. Yeah, like see a lot. I have a lot of people using Blender, and the reason being is one of the friends that I'm kind of chumming around with a bit is a British guy named Jim Croovy, and he has a YouTube channel here, and he does a mod that does the rigging and allows you to import and export right to and from Blender, right, and Unreal. And what that allows you to do is custom stuff, right? Because see this little white guy here, okay? When I go play, right? What goes on here is this will start up, right? And you get this little screen, and this is just a base template, and people think you're in a video game, right? See, and there you go, there I go, there I'm running around, right? And this is compiling it, running it from the engine through OBS, which is a pig for CPU cycles, with Discord on, and Chrome on, and streaming it up to you with 6,000 bit rate, right? Which is 6 megabits, right? You know, so, And that's the other point. I'm on old 7 or 8-year-old hardware doing all this, which is interesting to say the least. But you can take this guy with, let me get this back up, in less than 10 minutes. Go up here, go do this, scroll down to the bottom here. There are these Paragon guys again. And put any one of these characters onto that. And then I could make a cinematic scene. I can do pathing with, there are, I got animations in here that do walking around. Where's that mocap stuff? Where is it? Right here, right? So you what they call retarget the skin onto something, right? And then you have all these different little animations. Somebody walking down the street looking at stuff. People walking around. There's people running. People falling down, crouching. You know, and I've got all kinds of these that they've given me for free, right? So the idea was to do, if you go back in my videos, I did a 4-minute thing of a little crazy thing where what I did was I just took cinematics that Unreal had, did them inside the engine rather than run them and then OBS record them. Okay, those are actually videos made inside the Unreal Engine, and I discovered something unique. Unreal Engine's video codec is better than OBS and YouTube because it downgraded the quality upon sending it up to YouTube. And I'm just sort of like, oh, this is interesting. You know, and that's another one. I mean, YouTube is doing the bare minimums to make a buck. Yeah, that's what I mean. 17 million in assets, brother. You know all those guys all last year that were raging on Epic, you know, for having that store exclusivity? At the same time, okay, remember when Unity did that thing with Spatial OS where they were going to pull the license and screw about 100 video games that were online? Okay, Epic came by, gave them 150 million. Then they set up another fund for hardware for companies and schools and everything else for 100 million. That fund, Jim Croovy is going to get a couple of bucks from when they get around to him. And he's a Blender mod, you know. They do that. They give a couple of bucks to people so that they can keep doing things, right? So here I am grabbing all this stuff for see, they say free for the month, and they made it sound like, okay, so this is free for the month, and then after the end of the month, it's not going to be free anymore, right? That's what. So I asked in a live stream, and they say, no, you get to keep this, and you can commercially do anything you want with it as long as you follow the terms of service, and it's made in Unreal Engine. And I thought, Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. And that's when you'll notice when I start spreading the word of that, suddenly the epic bad thing it starts to go away, right? Look, and it comes down to this: these guys in suits that run these companies, they don't live in our world. They live in a little bubble, and when they interact with us, they sometimes say stupid stuff that you got to think that way. Okay, they are if you walked up to one of them and started talking like a regular guy, they would think you're a space alien, because they literally are the aliens themselves. That's the way I see it. But yeah, so okay. So you go back and you look at all these little animations I do and the little testings and playing around with stuff. I get to learn about how things work. And then they go and they bought Megascans. Now this thing they have, it's really good for assets, okay, the textures. But the bridge program they have is really kind of broken. And today, Windows 7 users, it's the last day of support from Microsoft, right? Well, I'm not changing anyway. I don't care. Okay? I just don't. Okay, this PC, if something hasn't hacked it already, I don't, you know what I mean? Everything I have on here is, like if it's from Steam, you can download it again. If it's from Epic, you can download it again, and everything else is on hard drives externally, so I don't care, right? And all these projects were just examples of me messing around with stuff. Like I did the shooter game, and I was running around in it, and people go, "Where do I get this game?" And I'm like, "Go get it for free on Epic and download the Unreal Engine." Yeah, we get the Quixel stuff for free, when you use Unreal. So, and it's almost like this: is there? I understand a lot of people liking Unity and stuff for it having a lot of assets that are already pre-made, so that things can work right, and it can do some things better than Unreal can, right? It would be an interesting thing how that, and it would be something to talk to them with, if you made stuff in the Unreal Engine, right, and combined it with Unity. I wonder if you could ever do something like that, because it would be something neat where you use the Unreal Engine for, say, 3D third person stuff, and then if you wanted to get to a campaign map where it'd be like Total War or Warhammer, where you got guys moving around, or it's Diablo 2 like, because I think Unity does that stuff a little bit better than Unreal does. Yeah. Oh, geez, I had a PC here until recently that was from 1996, and the hard drive was still running. Everything. It was Windows 98 second edition or something. I don't know. I look back on that and go, "Oh, there's a copy of Netscape Communicator 5." And you're going, "Well, what's that?" Well, that's the browser before Firefox, and I was one of the guys that helped get that code out to the rest of the world, one of 60 some odd people. And I don't like the direction Firefox went. It's just nothing I can do about it. Eh, I made a few browsers in my day. Oh yeah, like, see, this is the thing, right? What's gone on is Microsoft no longer cares about Windows, and the problem is that Android Linux on the phone went way past them. All the traffic on the internet, Android or Linux, Android and Linux together, now account for 70% of the internet. Okay, and you can still get Windows 10 free at this point right now, because even the developers are saying they don't even care anymore about making money off of Windows. They don't. They know they're not making any money, and they don't give a shit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, my first PC was a Commodore VIC-20, 1 megahertz CPU, 3.5K RAM. Yeah. back in '82. And here's another one. I would be have been set up in a 3D business by my local city if not for Warner Brothers skirting the rules on foreign temporary workers, because what they did was they were bringing foreign people into Canada at less than minimum wage, which is $8 Canadian an hour, to do 3D special effects and animations in and around 2011, 2012. So think about all the video games that were made back then by Warner Brothers. It was done with slave labor, because that's basically what that is. It's you know. Yeah, I remember. I had a friend that had a TRS. They were good ones too. TRS, the Commodores, right? Even the Amiga wasn't so bad. It was like the last of the Commodores. It was nice because it was a good computer that would give you the basics of how to program with. Yeah, and I remember the early versions of DOS too. See, I also, when I went to high school, they didn't have Windows. Well, they did, but it was Windows 3.11, and they had Unix in there, the AIX IBM Unix computers, which were really neat to play around with. And you had no MySQL. You had to create your own database software in order to do things like that, right? And back on the VIC-20, doing that meant you had to program a cassette tape drive to go forward and backward to read data. There's some really neat things that you get to learn when you're how input and output devices work and stuff. there's there's so many things that have come and gone that are still useful. It's just they don't want you to have them because it encourages free thinking. Okay? They don't want free thinking. Okay? They don't want people to they don't want. I'm serious. When I came back to YouTube, like I had an account at YouTube since 2008, and all I used to do was, well, I didn't want to go over there. There's all the government, and just, all that. I was just, meh. So I finally, in fact, I was actually asked to come over to it in 2004 or 5 when it first started, and I was like, no way, man. I was, but hey, here's the kicker about a tape drive. A cassette tape will outlast, okay, a DVD and a Blu-ray by a factor of 1,000, easily. Okay, like as far as a storage medium. Okay, and they know that. That's why the most sensitive data that's out there will be put on a tape drive. Those big wheels you see, right? And they don't put them on hard drives because a hard drive will fail and then you lose the data, right? That's another one, right? These hard drives, these SSDs are, I resist that technology for a while, but the next computer I get, I'm going to be forced into using one, and I'm going to kill that thing, right? Like, think about this PC, okay? When I'm doing this Unreal Engine stuff, I'm at 100% CPU use for hours at a time. Okay? I'm pulling up my RAM usage to 10 gigabytes, right? All this stuff, right? And in some cases, I've seen it lately getting up higher up. I max it out at 16 gigabytes, right? And then I'm using part of my hard drive. And I'm still going. What it is, though, is I've looked after my computer. I've actually went and did something interesting and smart. And I don't understand why a lot of the older computers don't do this. Go take an air purifier, right? Put it about a foot away from your computer. Funnel cold air from outside or something like that, like a air conditioner or something like that, through it into your PC. And see how well your your graphics card and your CPU manage to live longer. And that's what I've done. don't have to clean my computer no more, and that's half the battle right there of why most PCs, the on your motherboard, capacitors start going. Enough of them go, it just stops working. You know, you go get a bag of 200 of them for $20, and you fix your computer. Out the old soldering gun. I mean, I don't know how much landfill is sitting there that doesn't deserve to be there, but I guarantee you there's a lot. That's why you see on these Newegg and places something refurbished. That's what they've done. They check out, oh, that capacitor's burnt out. We'll take it off, put another one on. You know, it just means that other capacitors there can blow, and then you'll have the same issue, right? So it's not worth buying. And it was sad to see Tiger Direct go. Now in Canada, we don't really have a alternative, and it's beginning to show for pricing, right? A friend of mine was gonna get me a what you call a Quadro NVIDIA card, which is more towards what I do. Well, I mean, 98 is you can't. It's think about it from the development part. They drag us, kicking and screaming, basically, along this road of upgrading operating systems and everything else. They're trying to force me right now into Windows 10 so that I can get some new features in the Unreal Engine, right? And I'm not buying into it, right? I'm just not. I got enough. There is enough that I have here. And they're still giving out every month free stuff. Yeah, I was shocked. I went there and it just had a message saying they're closing down and now they're gone. I got my PC, this PC in 2012 from them, and a monitor, and all of it's still working. You know? And 5% of my PC went to U.S. veterans, which, you know, good, you know, something nice I did on top of that. I was in the military, and up in Canada, we're more or less all looked after nicely. So places that don't have some health care, we tend to help them out. Anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Like, find my Discord. I don't know if I posted a link to it or not, but if I didn't, I'll get in there and then I'll show you where Jim Cruvies is, and it seems like a bunch of us are kind of migrating into his, and the idea there is getting enough people together to do these kinds of things, and you can learn, you can ask a question, you know, the knowledge is there. I literally, okay, like here you are seeing things, right? Okay, like if I were to go like this, the thing would drop down like about, and there'd be like 150 tutorials there. I got 200 of them over here. I got like it's insane the amount of tutorials I have. Okay, and it's because there's so much to know. I'm smart enough to say I'm not going to be an expert at this. I'm not going to sit here for 3 weeks completely learning this when there's a tutorial right there that I can just go, oh, I can grab a hold of that and do it, right? So in effect, what I've done is I've made my brain bigger by expanding outwards all this little extra tutorials and whatnot. Like, what's this one? Yeah, see, there's some beginner's tutorial and whatnot, eh? But yeah, like this library, it's huge, right? It's just huge, okay? Like when you see the last 40 seconds of that 4-minute video, that's this thing here. And what I did was I added in some special effects stuff down at the bottom here. Where is that? And where is it? See, they need to organize these so we can put them into categories. This is something we're all kind of complaining about. Like, look at this list. It just gets longer and longer. Yeah, so I'm going to have to report a bug today because I moved those textures into a directory, and now it's corrupted the the project. So far, that's 3 bugs that are terminal that I've discovered. Yeah, ballistics FX. There's some other FX stuff. And there's some more animation starter stuff. There's animal packs, monster packs in here. There's creatures, and even the samples and demos they have. I've been told that you're allowed to go and use them as well. So any pieces of this stuff, right? A dynamic combat system, right? There's this one here was kind of neat. That's that little Dark Force, and it gave me the Evil Dead feel. When I was looking at that, I said, Evil Dead. That's Evil Dead, man. That's the set of Evil Dead. And here's the one that's, the little intro on my video. I could retarget that guy and put, whatever I want on there, right? And then he just wanders around, right? Some more FX, right? Like explosions and magic stuff and tornadoes and different things. And, there's this horror engine in here, and oh, there's stuff for 2D isometric stuff. There's backgrounds for landscapes. They give you levels and scenes. All these little places in here are different locations, right? So what my goal was to do up the shooter game, and then bring in every single one of these, and then start touching them up and redoing them so that they would be a little bit more useful to a shooter game, right? Like this one here is massive, right? And for the longest time, it was only 4.23. They finally, after I complained enough, updated it. I said, it's just like, look at all the characters I got to work with. And these are really high-end characters. Like, I'll show you. This is a AAA game Paragon. Just go and look at this one, right? All right, like, look at that. Now, when I go to add this into a project, say, right, it's got to do the shaders for it, and then I get that 100% use, and then it just kind of, I lag out. Yeah, and take care, Palladian. Yeah, me and him were discussing about Culpa there a little bit, and the main thing to take from this is just to be careful, not just when you're playing a video game, okay? Because when you're playing the video game, even if it's rated for teen and you're an adult, that's fine. It's when you're playing a multiplayer game, the first thing you need to do with your opponents is know who they are, okay? And if they're under 16, don't play with them. You need to be able to have that ability, so then there's no ambiguity that you're playing with anybody who's under 16. Okay? This is where I don't know how you do that with the matchmaking in Fortnite. I don't know how you do that with Warframe. Okay? Unless you're take people you know, right? Because if you just what it does is it takes out that random ability, right? Yeah. Yeah, Jim, I know what you're saying, man. Please, for the love of whatever's out there, give us categories. Someone should design something for them and just give it to them. I swear. They need to hire me to do their website and this kind of thing. Okay? I could bring about 2 or 3 people with me that would make their website not only look sharp, okay, but functional. Okay? That's the main thing. Because this is what they need to do, is get somebody who has to go through all this stuff in a day. So, yeah. Lots of stuff. I even have more than you, Jim. I was noticing that. I have no idea what this is. I was looking at it the other day, and I guess it's to make a fog of war in your games and stuff. I was looking at the vehicle sim dynamics, but it's like they give you a plug-in, but then you got to pay to use it. I just was like, oh, I'm going to not do that. Some of these are, like this one here, 4.11. and this is what I was saying about bugs and errors is I went and I did that vehicle. Where is it here? I've done up the using that texture of the vehicle thing there, and then I added it to this. And now if I go into the engine and I go open project, the shooter game doesn't appear anymore. See? In between here and here, it's no longer there. It's no longer there. So it's corrupted it. I don't like that. I should be able to take assets and migrate them over, unless there's something I'm missing for how it's hooking a texture with some material in a weird way. I'll just go and delete that directory and see if it works. I don't know. That might do it. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of like give everyone a heads up to be careful with this COPA thing, and I get concerned when I see Jim with his kid playing the video game, right? Because make sure, Jim, that you put that made for kids on that. You're not going to get any money basically out of that video. And have fun with your kid. I just don't want to see you getting any shit for it, in that sense. No one does. And I tell you, it would be the last thing they'd want to do is to go after a parent who's sitting there with their child doing the right thing, which is being there with the kid and the technology. But the way the law works, who knows? You get the wrong people up there, and then it's going to be silly. But yes, I am talking to more people too about doing stuff. Hey Willie, how you doing? Here's another good supporter of mine, Willie. He plays a lot of the console games and stuff like that. I like to sit and watch his wrestling. It's kind of it's a neat game. I got to admit, things are getting pretty realistic, and I think that's one of the other reasons these laws are starting to pop in, is because you'll have the odd kid or person who doesn't remember these are just video games. It's not reality. All that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So, let's load this one up again. Am I in that one already? No. So, let's see here. Something I can just have a little fun with. Oh, and I wanted to show, where is it? This project down here. Because was it this one? Or was it... Where is it? God, I got two. This is half of your day looking through stuff. Like what's even worse is this when the bridge doesn't work for mega scans, right? Well, there's 10 gigabyte, there's 20 gigabyte, there's 30, there's 50, and you can't just get one thing or texture out of it. No, drive me nuts. Like, I was going to go and try all this Roman stuff here that they had, and I don't know, like all down here, this Roman Empire stuff, just for the meshes and stuff that were in it. But then I thought, it just seems corporations are getting more and more stupid. Like, over on Steam, Total War Warhammer does a 150 megabyte update. So this is what they do. The update tells your local computer to make a backup of the video game that's 34 gigabytes. So now you got 68 gigabytes. And then what it's doing is then it goes and installs another version of the game, which will be your version of the game at 60 or 34 more gigabytes. So you're going to have like 102 gigabytes being kill my hard drive. Kill my hard drive. Yeah. That's what's killing your games, guys. It's stupidity. They don't know how to patch properly anymore. There's the whoever's in charge of the patching system is not right in the head. That's my nice way of saying it. I just went and uninstalled Total Warhammer 2. I just, I'm not having it do that kind of thing. And then they say there's going to be we're going to do this update and there's a DLC coming. So there's and now they've gone silent about that. So I guess maybe that was a way that they could get some of us not to play their game, but take our money. That feels almost fraudulent, but that's another story. This is why I'm just going to one of these days just completely stop with all their garbage and just keep getting into this level design. Like this one's really neat. I like this because they give you a couple plots of land at the far side of this little city, right? Where you can just start mucking around building buildings, right? And it's not that big either. See, the other thing I don't like about this setup for this is some of these things that, you know how you got create project? I would like to be able to import those assets into my project. The problem I'm having is if I just create a project and then drag those assets over, it's corrupting the project I'm doing to, which is exactly what's happened to this current shooter game thing. So now I got to delete that project, redo it, and just keep mucking around until it works. And I got to report this as a bug, I guess. See this here? Look at all that. Isn't that cool? Right? You get all this stuff to build with, and what I did was I set up timed explosions going down the street after you see those creatures in that big elemental guy with the fire hammer slam it down, and then his ice buddy appears, and then he looks around, and instead of seeing the Unreal Engine thing, he just looks at you, right? And then, so what's happening on Earth kind of deal, kind of thing, right? And the idea was I have kind of a semi-permission to use this Canadian shield, so I was going to, this is where I would then talk to Jim about how I could rig this bigger, muscular superhero guy. I have a tutorial on how to make people fly via the keyboard. I could then have you fly around in here. And with the shooter game, you learn about how bots work. You could then set it up to put that, bring those blueprints over, and then you kind of mucking around. And you have a little game where you're the superhero, and you're running around in a city, right? And this is how it starts. And I'm not paying for any of this. You know? And the one time I was going to pay for something with Curtis, stupid Visa people didn't put the money on the card until hours later. And I found that out when I was talking to my internet provider, who just always assumes I always pay and I never have a problem. So they just take the information and then they just wait till the next day and they take the money off the card. Visa, meanwhile, is telling you that when you put money on the card, it instantly goes there. Yeah. I talked to Curtis. I apologized. I thought he was pulling some scam on me and everything else. And yeah. And then he sent me something for free in an email. So I was like, you're all right, man. That's what I'm saying, right? It's like, like it's hard to see in this one. NASA goes and does some neat things, and they want to show it off to you, but I need permission in writing before I could ever even think of putting that on YouTube or using it, any of it. Like that's your government for you, eh? I want it signed in triplicate, sent forth, sent back. It's like the Vogons from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy have taken over. Yeah, that's it. And there's for you Mayo users, this was the I wanted to try that out. I was gonna go get their month-long free version, see what it's like. You can actually work inside Maya, and it will auto show up inside the Unreal Engine what you're doing. It just auto does it. This is a link, and they did that right before the month where they gave the money to Blender. And Blender's coming out with another new version. I see. The 2.83a. They keep this up. It's going to get harder and harder for Jim and people to keep their mods updated. This is a problem that happened in the gaming community with a game called Stellaris. When it came out, they put out the game and they went for 6 months and everybody made mods. Then they made an update. And then there were maybe 80% of the mods. And then 4 months later they did another update. And there were half as many mods. And then they decided to completely change things. And now there's a lot less mods. It's just, you know what I mean? They just keep killing it and killing it and killing it. Yeah, there's a little car thing I was doing, testing out vehicles. And there's where I was playing with. This is what I mean about texture painting. I could texture paint over that a bit, and you could fool people about world making. Okay, they're not the greatest, but for animated short that's for free, yeah. Now and the thing is, this little animated short thing, does it get COPPA crap, right? That's the problem I'm seeing here, and this is where I kind of, I don't know. I guess all of us need to get together in a chat one day and throw $1 into a pool, and then go to a lawyer and say, well, what would happen? Because I'm not going to be doing a project that would have everybody getting screwed either, you know. That's a big one right there, and I'm just kind of thinking about that where I'm going, oh boy. I'm not too bad, Willie. I'm just sort of playing around in the engine. I was looking at. I was going to compile up, do up a custom level in a shooter game and just kind of give it out to everybody for something to do. And I brought some textures over from the vehicle game, and it kind of disappeared it from my lists. And this is a recurring problem in the 424. Thing, right? I lost that. If you go back in my videos, my Dragon World, where I retargeted that samurai guy and you were running around, and I had a scene where there was an AT-AT sitting there in the woods and some guys that I hadn't retargeted that were like in a little camp, right? I lost that whole thing because of the same issue. I dragged something in, and the engine, I guess, is using some kind of DRM in the background, and as soon as it changes, it just corrupted everything, and I can't use it. So if this is going to be a continuous problem, then I got to look at how I'm going to deal with it. I mean, I can't just. I've got to be able to make some customizations to this stuff, right, to make it useful and not just a copy, you know, like. Like it's useless to give you something for free if you can't use it, you know? Like that's part of the problem here. And I'll look into this, and when I get a solution, I'll post out on it. See, the other point is, if something like this ends up getting to be where it's a decent enough project that we could do like if it was a game, we could do a release, then I would, right? And I wouldn't charge millions of dollars for it. It'd be like $5, right? I don't know. And would I put it on Steam? I don't know. I'd probably just set up a website and do it that way, and then I only have to give Epic 5%. I can keep 95% of it, you know? And if Epic wants to put it up on their store, I'd say, go ahead, right? I think it's 12% if you put it on a storefront. So I would get to keep 88%, right? It'd be no different than putting it on Epic Store. And Epic would probably do that as long as it's quality enough that it's workable. But all you got to do is it's just a matter of spending time on stuff, right? With all these different assets and things, right? So anyway, I just wanted to give a little update on where I'm at with different things. Like even in here, taking this thing and expanding it where I would add in all the Megascan stuff, right? See how he's got a tool here that allows you to do this building. If you spent the time and built this out, okay, where instead of over here you have assets as well. And then you could just drag it in, drag it in, drag it in, you know. And I got thinking about that with, where is it? Do, 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 do. Kind of like an online builder program for things. Where was that? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is really hard to navigate. Hurts your eyes. Oh, and I can get this. I can do up my own custom jetpack program now that I know how to put keys to animations. And I'm going to go to the Mixamo site and see how that works. And then I'll talk to you, Jim, about fixing some of the root bone problems that some of that stuff has. And then maybe just go through and do all their animations and just put it all in one place again, or send it back to them and say this is for Unreal. This is a public service thing. Where was that little building thing that I had there? Hold on. There's particle tax, path following. Oh, did it disappear? Maybe it did. Did he pull it? Maybe he did. Uh-oh. Where'd that go? There was... Where'd it go? This little building thing. Where is it? Oh, it wasn't the infinity stuff. It wasn't there. It had a wheel on it, and you could do things with it. First-person character. No, first-person story. Not sure if that was it. No. Wow, I think it's gone. So maybe the guy pulled it. Wow. Maybe. Unless I can find it up here. Yep, it's gone. So there are things that are disappearing out of here too, eh? Interesting. Because there's one where you could build like a survival game. I don't know where it went. Let me see here. Just go down through this one more time. This one's really neat for artificial intelligence, but as you can see, 4.23. I emailed him and he never got back to me, so yeah, I put that explosions thing in that 40-second thing. That was another one. First person story adventure. No, that's not it. First person character controller. No, that's not it. Furniture pack. No, 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 no. So they're taking things out that they gave us for free. Sneaky little buggers. Because that was a useful thing, because I built a project that uses it, and now I don't know what that means. Okay, down through the mega scans. Where is it? Menu. Where are you? Mod browser. Nope. Got into the Paragon stuff. I don't think it's in here anymore because it was like a building tool. There it is, player build system. Here it is. This is kind of neat too because imagine, okay, that hold on here. you build this out, and add textures and your little fences and posts and different things into this, right? Okay, and he updates this a lot, so this is another neat thing, right? You can get trees and rocks and different things, and you can make that there into stone. It shows you how to do an upgrade system. So it's got all the basics. This is what they're doing. They're giving you all the basics to do all this stuff with, right? So you could add this into something, right? Right? Which is kind of neat. And it looks a little more realistic than, say, Fortnite. That's one of the other reasons why I never got into that. It just looked too cartoony to me. See, I got a lot of networking and back-end stuff in here too that a lot of people wouldn't really see as something they want to get. This one here was a neat project. I don't know whether the guy updated. I tried to do his tutorial and it just never worked. It's a neat feature. As you can see, you can set up browsers inside your whatever. So imagine, having little mini movies set up on television monitors, and if you had a multiplayer game, you could have a little flip out whatever, and they could be looking at you and you could be looking at them inside of a little like a little handheld phone, and it'd be like realistic, because whatever, right? Just a little silly feature, but that would add some complexity to stuff. But anyway, just little things in my brains that kind of come up with how you could do things. You could also set this up so that you could be looking at, have it all across here and down here, where you have different websites popping up so you can keep an eye on things. It'd be like a little app that you could make, right? And the thing is, right, the supported versions, right, it's only Windows, right? Okay, that's one problem, right? So you can't use this for an Android app. Sneaky. Just little things I kind of pick up on, right? User interface maps, TCP plugins so that you can go do multiplayer stuff. I had another idea was to take old multi-user dimension code, which is based on a telnet server, and then have that underneath, okay, something, and then have security layer over top, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I have systems like that in here that for login systems and all that stuff, right? So while all the guys are raging on Epic for being, doing this and doing that and man and all that other stuff, I'm in here grabbing all this stuff. Right? Even a furniture pack, right? Like this twin motion thing was sort of an architectural thing. And here's the pack where I did that dragon thing. And the little AT-AT thing, right? You can see all the little forests and different things, and there's a little rock you go under, and right? So here's the materials for that. And you could put that down on something and it'll make it look like that, right? Different types of rocks and whatever. Now the problem is they didn't add any of the trees to have collision, so you're gonna have to go in and you're gonna have to add collision to these things so that you just don't run through them. I discovered that one video. But they do actually have trees. It's one of the very few packs that has actual full-size trees. I was like, oh, this one has them, right? There you go. There's the whole pack right there. And that's what I mean, eh? Like, these things are very well done. Very well done. And so yeah, I'm gonna cut the stream here shortly, and I just wanted you guys to give you a little place to talk about things too, right? And to get to meet each other and make sure you support each other. It's hard enough these days to get anywhere. We're all one big family, and we need to be let me put it this way: we need to be tighter about that too. We need to really help each other more, right? And it's going to be a tough year if they keep pushing at this COPPA stuff, and you know, because YouTube hasn't changed its rules about the age. This is a proposal from the Democrats and Republicans. So this is something that if enough Americans make noise about it, fine and dandy, because I will just stop video gaming on YouTube, and I'll go to BitChute and Twitch. Twitch already has the 16 set up, right? You got to be 16 years or older, so there's no ambiguity there at all, right? No issues with COPPA, all right? This will just, what's going to end up happening here at YouTube is you just be left with a bunch of tutorials, some crappy 15, 20-year-old documentaries on science that's no longer relevant, and the mainstream media, which is just putting its garbage on here that nobody wants to watch. And then there'll be some people raging about Disney and Marvel and those people, right? That will be all that's left. And eventually, they'll get rid of them too. It just seems like they're just nickel and diming everybody right down to where you're nothing. I don't see under the this new COPPA thing coming forward how Ryan's unboxing, that little kid, can exist on YouTube and make a buck, because he's targeted. He is the advertising. You know, they're targeting that kid to unbox his stuff. That's a COPPA violation. That's exactly what it's meant not to do. You're not supposed to be doing that to kids. Should be an adult there telling you about this toy for a kid, and it should be in an adult fashion to another adult who then can make a reasoned decision whether to have this toy or item for their child. That's simple. Yeah, well, see, COPPA, the COPPA law, Jim, is about protecting your kid. Let's say you just let your kid wander up to the computer, right? It's about protecting your kid, their data, from being used by anybody without your expressed written permission and knowledge of what the data is being used for. The problem is that how do you do that? How do I say that, once we do, let's say we really do get together with all these guys and we make an animated TV series where one video comes out every 2 weeks, goes on every other person's channel who is involved. How are we to determine if it's just for adults, right? Because if it's made for kids, you can't advertise it. It kind of kills the idea of putting all the videos on one channel, right? That's one point, right? And this new rating, and the new rating, what the problem with it is, well, how do I tell what's for a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old? Right? Like, really. I was 15 and 16 at one time, and I can't remember much of a difference of the things I liked and didn't like. You know? In fact, it was probably, never mind. But anyhow, yeah, and that's the problem. And rated T for teen, right? Well, it's not just about collecting the data from the viewers, okay? It's because you're a website operator now. You're responsible for when that data is collected. So if you're sitting there playing a video game, right, with your kid, and you try to say it's not for kids, and my neighbor's kid starts watching you and gets amused, and that's most of the traffic to that that game, then the FTC could come by and say, well, you said it's not for kids. Here's a $43,000 fine. On the flip side of that, if I'm playing Fortnite with my buddy SB Gaming, who's an adult, we're both adults, okay? And up pops two random people, and we don't know how old they are, and then it's found out that they're teenagers, right? And they didn't get permission, right, to be where they are, or whatever, and you're playing with kids more. It's now kids content, right? And this is where you can run afoul of things. Then I wouldn't be able to put that video on my channel because my channel's for adults. I'm an adult and I'm playing my games as an adult. I know you're doing the same thing, but when it's... there was a lawyer that I actually watched a lot of. Hoeg Law, Hoeg Law. He's a corporate guy. Okay, he's a corporate lawyer, and he does contracts and everything, and he made some commenting about this law. And what I did was I put all my videos, right, in a post there and said, does any of this sound wrong? Do I have what's in my head here wrong about it? And he never responded that I was wrong. So he did. The problem is, you have also a situation where YouTube came out and said, well, you should go talk to a lawyer. Making lawyers money, right? You know, I can't afford that, so therefore I should cancel my channel, right? Nah. And what I was told, okay, and when I started getting a lot of motion on my view counts and whatnot, what happened is YouTube sent me a private message saying you should look at putting your stuff into the content ID. Well, I looked at it. Half of my channel is video gaming. I don't have exclusive rights to go put that content into the content ID system, and that's the content that I'm most worried about, because some of the only 2 of the games I was playing are rated 2 or 3 of the games I was playing in my playlist were rated T for teens. So I wasn't worried, right? So that's 13 and up. Now they want to make it, where I don't know, right? It's a question of, I don't want the liability of saying, here's a video game I'm playing, and having people that are underage to be viewing it. I just don't want the liability. It's back to Warframe, rated M for mature, And here was another kicker about why the ESRB is doing everyone a disservice. The Spiffing Brit, who has 1 million subs, came out and he says, this COPPA stuff's really interesting, eh? I went and fired up Stellaris, which is a sci-fi game of galactic conquest and genocide. And yet it's rated for everyone. He starts laughing his head right off. The concept in that game is to completely wipe out races, right? It's not a nice game then, really, is it? It's nice and pretty to look at, but the concept is not nice. And this is where, their rating system is just so that because it's run by the companies that make video games, it's done in a way that allows them to sell more video games. Well, maybe when they start getting fewer and fewer people looking at their video games and start losing sales, then they're going to start realizing that maybe they need to fix this problem. And the other point to make is PC sales are up this year. Okay? And what does that mean? That means the ecosystem of consoles, mobile phone gaming, and everything is stabilized, and now you're seeing a growth in the PC market because of the ability to do all this stuff like streaming and video editing and everything else. People are seeing this as a way to make a buck too, right? You can do more than you can with a console. That's the whole point. And so So, and with AMD coming out with 8-core laptops and stuff like that, I saw an interesting thing on what Intel did with artificial intelligence being built right into their chips that companies like Adobe can utilize so that you can speed up your workflows. The problem is, you sided with Adobe, you lose. You lose. I'm sorry. Me paying a subscription for your software is never going to happen. Okay? It's never going to happen. They're trying that with the Enterprise Edition of Windows 10 for business owners. That's fine for them because it's simple, it's easy, and they get support. That's basically what they're paying for. Okay? But for us end users, we don't need that. Right? They'll try that. Trust me. That's where it's going. And, by the way, you can go get the media creation tool and upgrade to Windows 10 still for free. Well, this is the ambiguity, Jim. This is what this lawyer kind of said. It's the vagueness of how they're terming all this that is the question of what the problem is. It's okay. Is your content geared towards kids? Is your content for that video is it watched by a majority of kids? That might not be a problem if you also can say, it's so subjective, man. It's one of those things where, in order to get away from it, I just won't play any games rated T for teen, and I'll go back through my list and I'll flag anything rated T for teen as made for kids. That Star Wars game that I played yesterday, right, and went live with, is made for teens or everyone, I forget. Right? That's part of the problem right there. Right? Like, me and you, we're not in the United States. We're not going to get a fine. The worst that's going to happen to us is they go, oh, your channel's canceled. Right? And I'm pretty sure before they do that, they would allow us to remove all the content beforehand. Right? Like and the other point to make is the 3D animating, right? Like if we did an animated TV show, how are you going to say that who am I to tell the guy at the FTC whether it's made for kids or not? Right? If I say it's not made for kids, it's not made for kids, right? Well, no. It's up to him. And if you go read what the law says, it's so vague, and they try to expand their control and power over it, that's where it's getting really kind of stupid. I just say no, it's not made for kids. That way if I have a little language here or there, that's, I'm not going to get in trouble. And also on top of that, if you say it's made for kids and it's not, they can also fine you, which is okay. You can't win for losing there, right? It's they just like stirring us all up and getting us all riled for this stuff too, eh? It is. It's a way that they can. There's something going on, right, in the world. How can we get everybody not watching what we're doing? And they go and pull crap like this that, for the majority of us, me and you, it shouldn't be a problem. And I'm pretty sure as long as you don't let your little one, without you being there, play the video game, you'll be 100% fine. They will never touch you. That would be such a PR nightmare. It would be just crazy. It's when little Johnny's out by themselves and they're by themselves playing a video game and they're playing Fortnite. That's what the problem is that he didn't ask mom and dad to play the game. And how does YouTube get around that? Well, YouTube will say 16's the cutoff. That's it. Right? Well, I mean, the kid swears on stream. The kid swears on stream. Well, the lawyer explained it that swearing doesn't help you make your stream not for kids.
by the way. It could actually make the problem worse. If you had a 4 kids video and you were swearing, it gives the FTC a little more ammunition to try and look at you more, in a bad way. Yeah, that's right, Jim. Yeah, that's there's something sneaky going on in the background that these guys are up to. So what they do is they go and stir up YouTube and the rest of the internet, trying to have us all talking about this. Meanwhile, they're probably off missiling some other diplomat somewhere in the world. Yeah, I know. We're all wise to this shit now. I don't know why they bother with this crap anymore. And it comes down to is that if I ever get any flack for any of my videos being made for kids, I just move that entire type of content to BitChute, which isn't in the United States, I don't think, or some other non-American whatever, right? And then just block the Americans. If it's in another country that doesn't have that law, then I don't care, right? I mean, I'm capable of setting up my own servers in Canada here and doing something like that. But the way our government works is they get a leash put around their neck and they follow the Americans around like little puppies. It's sad and it's sickening. I don't know how. I wear a leather jacket, right? I got long hair. My dad was a biker, so you can just imagine I look a little crazy sometimes, right? And I've had old people that look straight as a board after talking to me say, "You should run for office." I go, "No, I couldn't handle it." I'd be in there and I'd want to reach right over and strangle the heck out of these people and ask them what the heck they're doing. What's wrong with them, I just couldn't handle that. Day in and day out having to sit there with your hands crossed going, That's why I want my politics out of my video games. I want them away from me. Just let me have my non-reality to myself. I hurt my back doing overtime, which means, yeah, I'm not lazy. Yeah. Good thing I'm in Canada where I have some ability to get disability. And then one day I come home, and this other guy had lost his job with these Italians he was working for. He went and stole my beer, and so I went and took it back, and then I went, put it back down in my room, went out to the bar. He went and nicked himself with a knife, called the police on me one time. And then I ended up breathing in chlorine gas because they didn't want me to be at home because, and I'm in the back of a cop car with handcuffs on me, and they're going, "We know you were at the bar drinking, but we have to arrest you anyway because there was blood on the guy." I'm like, this is our justice system at work right there, right? And yeah, I took it to court and I won that, but it cost me another, couple of grand here and there. That was years ago. But that's just an example of you getting screwed around like, And I ended up breathing in the chlorine gas because I went over to the community center, was going to sleep on a picnic table, wake up in the day, and then figure out how to sort this mess. Guard came out and said, "Oh, you can't be here, but you know what? I'll go get you a towel and a piece of plastic. There's a warm air vent around the side." Neither of us thinking, hey, this is chlorine off the pool. Ooh, almost died. Yep. That's what I'm saying, man. Everyone goes through crap in their life with weird stuff like that, All I gotta say is that guy should not be messing around with them specific types of Italians. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Yepper. They did not appreciate him messing around. Anyway, that's why he got fired. He's a stupid idiot. Yep. Anyway, so the best thing I can suggest to people is just to make sure when you're doing your content, like Jim, you're fine. You're fine sitting there playing with your kid. That's okay. You're not having any issue. Don't worry about it. The main thing to worry about is if we go to do this animated stuff, we have to decide You know, whether because we're doing all this for nothing, right? This is just a side project that everybody is thinking of doing. By the way, if anyone else is listening, do we want to do this for kids, or do we want to do it for adults? And if we do it for adults, we got to do it in a fashion that's, I guess, would rate it that way, so that they can't unrate it and say it's made for kids. That's the thing. I mean, we can put some violence and swearing in it, but if some guy at the FPC says, "No, this is made for kids," we all end up with a fine and get screwed. That's how bad it is. That's how bad this. I've sat and watched 3 different lawyers say the same thing. It's too vague. They have too much. They're overreaching in the law what it states. That was another common comment by lawyers. Now these guys are saying also, you know, I haven't been retained, blah 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 blah. This is just my commentary, blah blah, blah, you know, that kind of thing, right? And the one guy said you'd be a fool to get a lawyer regarding it because no lawyer can tell you what to do about it. That's how bad it is. Yeah, it is. It's kind of stupid that way. Anyway, I'm gonna go have lunch. It's gonna be a made by an adult hamburger. What's this? Nope. Yeah, see, YouTube just blocked that, eh? Which is kind of weird, eh? Yeah, that would be the thing, you know. And with some of these Paragon characters, they look realistic enough too that you know we could do something like that with some of the characters, or have a scene where people get blown to bits and have bits and pieces of them flying off, right? You know, that's easy to do. Once you see arms and legs flying everywhere, then you know this is not for your little Johnny, right? Like I could go back to that scene where in the 4-minute little short thing I kind of spliced together and added in some explosions. I could just cut apart some legs and arms and put some blood on the end and just have legs and arms fly out, right? There you go. Rated M. And that would fly. And that's one of the things to think about is that in each video you'd have to do something like that. No baby Yoda crap. As much as I'd like to, you know. Unless Yoda's eyes pop out of his head and his brains blow out. Like, I mean, it's wrong that we have to do this kind of stuff. It should be that we're allowed to create some content and monetize it too, right? If this is part of the problem is that if it's made for kids, you lose 80% of your advertising, your ability. And there's no commenting. There's no... It makes it harder to share the video around. It makes it, you know, because they're protecting kids, right? They want to wall that little garden off, right? Which, you know, the philosophy behind this is fine. Just have YouTube stop doing the data. And that's what YouTube said it would do, right? After all this bullshit, last week, YouTube came out and said, well, if you're watching a made-for-kids video, we're just going to stop recording all the data. We're not going to try and differentiate between an adult and a child. In other words, YouTube's giving up on trying to set up a login system that will gatekeep. Which, here we go, you know. It's just, what do you do, right? I don't know. See, like in here, I was showing off different tutorials for this lad in here, right? How to retarget things, and this one here. Under 10 minutes, how to do a retarget. Also, one of the Paragons, Jim, has a bow. And I thought, that would be good to look at for you making that bow thing. Because then you got an idea how to fire things and all that stuff. Which one was it here? It was, I forget here. It was one of the female ones. wasn't the Countess. Maybe Decker? Can't remember. No. No, she was doing it with that weapon. Okay, wrong one. Gadget, maybe? No, it wasn't Gadget. Wait. This one, maybe. No, she has a gun. It's weird. I don't recall her having one. See, that's a neat looking. See, this is what I mean. We could use things like this, right? And not be even characters, but because the mesh is different enough, have them as a female army of some kind. This is the kind of thing because they skinned everything. So there's not just the 30 of them. There's another 5 right there. Like you can't tell that's that there. And this could even be a different race, right? Stone people, or like the ideas start popping in, right? Where was that? I'll try and find it. Was it Muriel? Wasn't Phase either. And it wasn't Seraph. Seraph had a sword. Maybe it was Muriel. No, this was also a really strange one to rig. It's because of those wings. No. Sparrow maybe. Sparrow or Shinbi. Might be Shinbi. Might be the Fae. No. Ah, here it is. Yeah. Sparrow has a bow. And it's kind of a large size bow like the one you wanted to do. So you could get a good idea on how to muck with that. Right? Well, that looks neat. I like the look of that one. It's kind of an Imperial Guard look. Lots of skins for this one. See what I mean? Change the hair color and it's a different person. It's all part of the illusion when you do stuff, right? There. Just leave it in there. Oh, back over here. Yeah. Yeah, it's Sparrow. So, let me sort this little shooter game for some of my gamer peoples. And they did fix the height map issue. That was another thing I'll say. I was getting an error forever when you import a height map, and then sometimes when you imported it, it flipped it upside down by accident. So, but there was neat effects when you did that. Because like there'd be all these like spikes pointing up, right? And you could go, I could texture that, and that would look really neat for like a crystalline city, and then doing it was another chore. All right, and now it's sorted, and what I do, where was that link? Just sort of I'll just show you that. Hold on. Go over here, import from file. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta do a new level. Forgot that. New level. Do a blank like this. You take this, right? Take this here. Delete that, right? Then you go over to the landscape, right? Import from file. Come on. Oh, down here. And see here, these were made for Dungeons and Dragons games, and it was an online site that says go ahead and do whatever you want. So you grayscale it, right? And then you import it. And you go down here, and what used to happen is, first of all, the air would make it 500 feet above you, and it would flip the thing upside down on you, right? So it really screwed the maps up for height maps. Now they're all fixed. This is great because I could sit here all day now making levels, right? So once I get some kind of a game going, or some little animated series, I could be making planet places and different, stuff like that. Once it's just a matter of getting the bridge going for textures, and I'd be just rolling. So then you go down here, you scale this down because you don't want it too large because Unreal will start having issues. Even at this size, it used to give me an error and now it doesn't, which is interesting. Then you import, right? There you go. And now you see where the water goes is down in here, right? And there's a pack that came out a little while ago about volumetric water. Ha. So now we could technically go back to that, figure out how that's done, throw the water in here, right? And just to show you how big this is. There we go. Now, you want to move this dude, pilot him over, okay? You don't want him to drop out of the sky, and you don't want him to fall out of whatever. Bring this over here so that he's right there. Then you stop piloting. Ooh, where are we here? Snap to view. Where is it? Whoops. Should say stop piloting somewhere. Oh, right there. Then you save the thing. Usually I'll give it a map, but because I'm going to delete this, you just do that, right? Go back to manage to get rid of that. Go back to this, and you can just circle around like that. Standalone game, and it should pop up. Now the lighting needs to be rebuilt because I haven't built a bounding box which surrounds the player, right? But otherwise, it should work. Yep, there you go. This is now a completely custom land that nobody in the universe has but me, right? And it's huge. And I've tested it with the demo shooter game that they had. I've tested this with the vehicle game. This is the third person one. I had a thing where I just went and I put a whole bunch of the female paragons all listed across here with different animations. And the reason I'm doing all this is to see how it works with stuff. And if you rebuild this lighting, it'll give you an error that, you know, you need to put shrink the area and size down of this as an instance, right? You can get away with it. You know, it all comes down to if you're going to use those mega scans things, you can do LOD stuff, and you don't need to worry about the lighting so much because distance-wise, the closer you are, the higher the texture will be. Further away, it gets looking crappier, okay? Which is what your eyes are like, right? So, yeah, and so yeah. And that's running everything through Unreal Engine, doing that on a PC that probably right about now might. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat too. But we'll get together though, and I'm kind of funneling more people into your Discord too. So that we're gonna use, I guess, maybe your place as a little bit of a meeting place and a place for all of this, you know, and technology in general, I guess. Which I don't have a problem with, right? I mean, you're set up nice and everything else for your Discord. I mean, why not have one spot where we can all be? And then at least when there are issues like this, we can all talk about it. And, you know, maybe one of us is a lawyer that could actually, you know, spread some light on things too. That would be kind of fun. You know, this Hogue guy is really good. He's doing it as a public service too, which is kind of a nice thing to do. I don't mind sharing them out. I'll put a link to his video, and he gets a little more in depth on it. And the post was even kind of sneaky, you know, how they're up in the age limits. But I already BitChute's this way, already Twitch is this way, YouTube should be this way, and you know, sit with your kids. If your kid's playing, you know, and your content's adult, and you're having a game and stuff, I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem. I don't think anybody in the FTC would ever try and bother you. You should ask her about it and let her have a little look over the law and see how she would think about it, because it's complicated. They made it that way, and they made it vague enough that it scared the piss out of. I lost maybe. I didn't lose subs over this. What I did lose was people that are creators themselves that they just went and deleted all their content. They didn't want the risk of getting in trouble. I have the attitude of, hey, look, I'm not American. The worst they can do to me is cancel my channel. So, you know, and I would fight it because I'm an accredited webmaster. I would go down there and I would make the FTC look like a bunch of morons. Okay? And their lawyers. Okay? I know what a website operator is. Okay? I mean, that's another thing I should show off. Okay? I should fire up, go get just a quick XAMPP for Windows, drop it on here, throw in some of the website stuff that I'm able to do. Okay? And I got friends here with 30,000, 40,000 subs that do website design and different things and show off different technologies on that end. And they've been here a long time. Right? And that's another one, right? This starts to cross into different countries and different places and stuff like that, and people that I've met along the way. And they're smart, and if you're smart and you're doing something neat, this is why I wanted things around, right? So I met people along the way, and that's another thing. Okay, the biggest subscriber I have has 106,000 subs. All right, so the average, he brings up my average of my subs a lot. I've got another couple people at 30 and 40,000, and some people anywhere. There's tons of people I have that are monetized. So this is the point. I'm almost like a union rep, right? Talking for these people, because just the sheer fact that one of my videos got over 1,000 views talking about this was more than enough to say, oh, you're onto something there, right? I don't want to have to talk about law, right? We'll let your girlfriend deal with it. You know what I mean? Like I just want to make sure that I don't want to do anything that gets anyone else in trouble either. You know what I mean? That would be the worst fear of all. That you start doing a fun project like this that, everybody's going to have some fun and learn something maybe, and I mean, it should be for everyone. There should be a category for everyone, and it should be spelled out that way, right? Kind of like how the Flintstones, right? It was for kids, but the way they talked and did things, there was some stuff that us adults could understand, and it was why we watched it too with the kids. You know what I mean? Like, that would make sense. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. I want you all to be safe and just kind of think about it. And I wouldn't worry too much right now. The main thing to take from this is it's a proposal, okay? If you're in the United States, I urge you to get more informed about it and make a comment to the FTC. Talk to your local representative, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, because this bill that's coming is bipartisan. Okay? In other words, Republicans and Democrats both want to do this. Makes you wonder. Right? Makes you wonder. Anyway, I gotta go eat, guys. I will be in touch. And hopefully I can get this shooter game thing sorted, and I'll import that and fix it all up and everything again. I don't know what happened there. I'll have to report a bug to Unreal again. That was fun too. I was in a live stream and they asked me about some of my bugs, which was cool, Jim, because they immediately fixed that issue. Now I got another issue to report to them. We'll see how that works. But anyway, everybody, if you want to see what we're up to, you can go to Jim's Discord. You can click on his name. To the right, there's a few little dots. Right click, open channel, go and check him out. He has a Discord there, and you can meet most of us over in there. And Anybody who wants to get involved, even if you're not into making 3D stuff, but you gotta, you wouldn't mind giving your voice to something like a voiceover or something like that. I've never done that. I've only done that once. Okay, so it's a bit tricky for me to do things like that. But this is something where I'm gonna again learn to do something and do it so that we can get people doing things, right? And having some fun doing it. Anyway, everyone, if you like what you saw, like and subscribe, and remember, it's all about us, we the people. Remember that, okay? Uh, This is still a proposal. Don't panic. You know, lots of time here to go and get informed and talk to your representatives there. And I gotta say, if the rest of us in the rest of the world should be starting to pester some of our leaders and saying, well, what are you doing about this? Are you bothering them about it? Are you, you know, because it matters. 80% of the traffic to YouTube, okay, is non-American, but they're trying to force an American law on the rest of us, which it's too vague. It's too vague. Way too vague. Anyway, guys, take care. I gotta go eat.